Deaths of despair are the highest ever. We have now had, we haven't had since 1900 and before 3 years in a row where the longevity of the average American goes down. Now it's 4 years in a row. But it was going down even pre-COVID because of deaths of despair. What are those deaths? Suicide rates dramatically increasing. Drug overdoses dramatically increasing. Opioid deaths, by the way, reached the highest level. We not only had COVID killing people last year, we had opioid deaths also killing more than ever. And also alcohol-related deaths have skyrocketed. In fact, alcohol poisoning, something that you probably wouldn't hear if you turn on any screen elsewhere. You'd have to come to the Michigan camp meeting to learn this. But there are more people, more public school kids killed from alcohol poisoning than school shootings. School shootings produce all the media, but when alcohol poisoning kills a 16 or a 15 or a 14-year-old, there's no media coverage, or very little, if any. It's almost like, oh well, you know, they should have known better, a poor kid, and nothing is done. And meanwhile, rates of alcoholism and addictions are dramatically increasing in our society. Highest rates of mental illness on record. And there's a number of reasons for that, but depression and anxiety levels are very high. In part, they were already increasing, but when the pandemic came about, what we have found out is the mental health consequences of the pandemic measures and the fear of the pandemic actually outdid the physical health consequences of the pandemic. And so mental health issues skyrocketed with the pandemic. But there are other reasons for it as well. And of course, did technology get used more or less during the pandemic? More, and we now know that the usual use of technology is very much related to developing mental illness. In fact, if you use your iPhone and your Android, we just learned how to use it in a good way, but if we use our iPhone and Android the way most people use it and the way the engineers want you to use it, you will develop mental health issues just as a result of utilizing those devices. Murder rates rose higher than ever in the history of this country year over year. And that's the latest CDC data. And so murder rates dramatically increasing, although prosecution for murders decreasing throughout many of the cities of this country.